Good afternoon. I'm Dara Bunjon. I'm the food enthusiast here at J Moore Living. If this is your first time tuning in, I'm a food writer, food stylist, PR maven, and a frustrated baker. We ask you to feel free to send in your questions or comments as the show is live, and you'll see me turn to the side to check and see on the computer when they're coming in. The show is actually done through the phone. With the weather being nice, with everyone being vaccinated at this time, more and more people are going out. And there's a thing called Zoom fatigue. But I got a lovely note, email from one of the listeners who says they've gone back into the archives of the Food Enthusiast, and it helps them with their runs. They go out, they listen to the show like other podcasts. So, we ask you, go ahead, dig back in the archives, see who's back in there and see who might be of interest. I want you to take a moment to reflect back, if you're in that era, to the 70s and 80s where TV shows had fun doing episodes that feature people getting stoned on hashish brownies or pot brownies. In fact, there was a Barney Miller where Wojowicz's girlfriend sent in brownies and the whole squad room got stoned. Well, things have changed. And there is now THC gastronomy, and I want to welcome my guest, Chef Porter-Berger of Good Snack Patissier. And hello to Chef Porter.
Hi, how are you? Thanks for having me.
I have to say Chef Porter-Berger, or I will say Mikaele.
Sure.
And keep it simple.
You can
right?
call me Mikaele. Yeah.
Right. So what's baking today, Chef?
Ooh, what's baking today? Today we have some focaccias that are about to go out this afternoon, which is one of my favorite breads to bake. Technically, it's not bread, but it is one of my favorite breads to bake.
Well, they're also, when people go to your Instagram, which is Good Snack Patissier, and that Instagram is how you can reach Chef.
Mm-hmm.
That'll float up in the notes, and it's not spelled good, G-O-O-D, it's G-U-D-S-N-A-K, Patissier, but you'll see that in the notes. So on your Instagram, you showed a beautiful, beautiful focaccia with beautiful vegetables on it, and I think I put it in the promo piece.
Mm-hmm.
So let's get down nitty and gritty. What are the differences between CBD and THC? What are they?
Okay, so let's start with saying I have no actual formal training as a botanist. My passion comes from having tons of time during lockdown where we were able to spend time to actually research, the plant. So you have CBD and you have THC, correct? CBD's pronunciation, and bear with me, would be cannabidiol, whereas THC would be tetrahydrocannabinol. Both come from the cannabis sativa plant, right? But THC is the main psychoactive ingredient, right? THC is what produces the high sensation. Pardon me 1 second.
I think we lost him for a second, but in the meantime, I want to tell people that next week that we will not be having a show because
Sorry
you
about
are.
That. We
Okay.
cut out for a second.
Okay. I just was telling people that there's vacation next week. Jen, who was my producer, will be on vacation, so no show next week. All right. So we were talking about the difference between CBD and THC.
So THC is what produces the high sensation, right? Now, both of these can also be found in hemp, right? Legal hemp is also a thing that you can find. Legal hemp has 0.2 or 0.3% of THC or less, correct? THC has up to 30, maybe 29, 30% is one of the highest I've seen before. of the psychoactive ingredient. Now, CBD is much more of a relaxer, right? CBD is what I give to my grandmother in forms of like hand salves or body cream. She's diabetic, so I like to give her CBD cream that has a relatively high potency for her feet, for her diabetic neuropathy, and it works wonders. Um, Now, she personally does not like the psychoactive feel of THC, so she chooses
Right.
CBD. And those are sort of the magic of it. You can choose, but it also goes to say that both of these things, CBD and THC, they react with the body's endocannabinol system, right? The ECS. The ECS is like it's like cannabinoids, right? But they're molecules that your body produces, regardless if you consume cannabis or not. We're born with over hundreds of these receptors in our body, and scientists are still studying them. And they deal with things that range from sleep to memory to appetite to weight loss, weight gain, all sorts of things. Um, so I guess that just goes to show us that you know it's good. We can
Right.
use it, guys. It's fine. But yeah, so that's a little bit of like a science
Of
lesson
it.
for you. Yeah.
Okay. When was that? I like this question, so I ask it a lot of times.
Okay.
When was that Wizard of Oz moment? That moment when black and white went to color and you went, aha, this is my path.
Okay. Um, let's see. What was the aha moment? All right.
What were you doing beforehand before you went
I
into the cooking and
I
baking?
I think that the aha moment would be sort of the moment where everything sort of came together in my head. It was a couple of days before lockdown started. I had just taken myself on a trip to Colombia, the country, right before lockdown because I knew that it was going to be long. And whenever I travel, I like to, put myself out there, try to find some locals, make some friends, try to get some local food, maybe cook for people or interact somehow with gastronomy wherever I am. And I got very lucky and was very blessed to make a really great group of friends on the island of San Andres in Colombia. It's belongs to Colombia, but it's in the middle of the Caribbean, more near like Nicaragua than anything.
Okay.
And so 2 or 3 days before I left, I knew that I was going to fly back home into pandemic. Um, they invited me to come up and we were going to do a whole day cooking. The guys that went out and caught some fish, they caught some barracuda, which I was very like hesitant to cook. I never actually had like cooked a barracuda before. They have these gnarly fangs, like they're wild. But we got the barracuda. We also did some tuna. And one of the guys, while we were doing it, he was like, "Hey, like, do you consume cannabis?" And I was like, "Yeah, actually, I do." And he was like, "Hey, we're here. Let's, we'd like to share with you." And they showed me the cannabis, and I didn't want to be rude or disrespectful because I was in a different place and someone was being very, very like gracious to me. I was like, "Listen, honestly, like, guys, like, I'm super happy that you guys are gonna share this with me, but this is like not going to happen." It was terrible. It was terrible, terrible looking. And I was like, "But you know what would be really good for cooking?" And I was like, "Oh, wait, let's make some weed food. I'm pretty good at that." And so we put it together, and I was able to really create an experience for these complete strangers who had become family right before the world changed. Um, and so while we were in lockdown, it sort of all came together. I wanted to have something that I could have comfort food, that it wouldn't be too heavy, that it would be special, and then it wouldn't be your typical edible, correct? But it just didn't happen overnight. It took a lot of trial and error. I'm still learning. I don't claim to be a baker at all. I do claim to be a magician in some regards, but not a
Why is
baker.
that?
Well, because anyone can put together flour and yeast and water and butter and bake something. Anyone can try to toss cannabis into bread or into a brownie. But what we do at Good Snack is quite different. We examine each item and we figure out the best and the most efficient way to dose said item without leaving a taste or trace of cannabis. And it's kind of difficult, but we've been able to do it, and we do it pretty well. You have to try our cinnamon buns. Our cinnamon rolls are fantastic.
Well, let's talk about some of the products that you're producing.
Okay.
So what we're saying is that what you're baking has the benefits of the THC without the flavor,
Mm-hmm.
and that you're doing
Now, mind
cinnamon
you,
buns.
now mind you, you can definitely taste, the cannabis in some items. However, it's not overpowering. It goes very well with it, and it adds, it heightens, it makes the flavor profile a bit more profound and a bit more complex as well. But yeah, let's talk about some of the products.
But the things that you're making that people here in Baltimore can get,
Okay.
and you have curbside pickup,
Mm-hmm.
and they need to reach you through your Instagram.
Yep.
But you're doing cinnamon rolls.
Yep.
You're doing croissant loaves.
Yep.
You're doing challah.
Yep.
You are doing brownies. And the
Mm-hmm.
interesting
Always.
fact, what? Pardon me?
Always.
Always brownies.
Yeah.
And just to let people know, the oil, first of all, THC in either is not water soluble, or it should be based in oil or
Right. It has to
something.
be extracted with oil, with
With oil,
a fat.
with the fat. And your brownies, you use the duck fat.
Some of our brownies we use duck fat. Yeah. We have achieved an amazing, extremely rich, extremely luxurious duck fat brownie. I mean, just saying those words is phenomenal. Duck fat brownie.
Brownie. And now, honestly, even in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, whatever, you know, I, I did my share of pot, but I never really ate a food with a pot in it. It was always smoking it. So I have nothing to base this on. So if someone ordered a challah from you and they have a slice of challah,
Mm-hmm.
not the whole loaf,
Mm-hmm.
do they get any type of buzz? I mean,
Well, of
what's the
course,
benefit?
of course, of course. I mean, let's imagine a loaf of challah, and with the loaves of bread, the maximum that I like to go is 250 milligrams or 300 milligrams of THC. Um, and we do a high amount because, of course, you will be cutting into many slices over a period of time. Loaves are something that you can take out, put it in the freezer, boom, boom. You can conserve it for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, whatever. And it all depends on when or why you want to use it. If maybe you like to start your mornings with cannabis, but you don't want to consume it the traditional methods, and you don't want to necessarily smoke an entire joint or smoke a whole bowl,
Right.
you can take a tiny slice of your challah and make a breakfast sandwich, or you can make French toast with it. And it doesn't have to be a huge slab. It can, be a quarter inch if you wanted to. It's all up to
Right.
you. You have to understand just basic math that the whole loaf has this amount. So if you take this amount, this is more or less the probability of what that dosage will be, right?
Right.
And so that's how that works. Yeah. It it can be said that with different strains, you receive different effects of the body high, right?
Right.
So when you consume cannabis, it's not going to be like smoking it. When you smoke it, it's much more direct. There's much more of like a THC confusion, haziness, and then it rides out. It's done. When you consume cannabis, it's in your bloodstream. It takes a little bit longer for it to kick in, and it also lasts a lot longer. It's much more of a tiny warm wave that creeps up your body, and you notice it, but it doesn't alarm you. You're just relaxed. And then after a little bit, you're like, oh, whoa, I actually am stoned. That's wild.
Well, I guess for people, there are many people who, what does stone feel like because they were never
Hmm.
stoned before. And I remember the first time I got high and the paranoia when I initially did it. We're in a state where there is medical marijuana. There are other
Hmm.
states that recreational marijuana is available. And you've done multiple course dinners in California and DC using THC, if memory
Hmm.
serves me.
Yes.
Can you give me, and that's where recreational, I'm assuming, I know
Hmm.
California, that recreational pot is allowed. It's not
Of course.
illegal.
Right.
Um, so my question to you is, what would a typical meal, a multi-course dinner
Oh.
with THC, can you give me an
Yeah,
example?
of course. This is really fun. So, really quick caveat. Before lockdown, I found myself in a very strange, like, niche world of catering these super huge, large scale electronic music festivals during the summertime. Absolutely amazing. I've done and seen some incredible things. And it's all about the experience, right? When you're doing that, it's all about sensory overload, because that's what the festival is anyway. And so when I do these THC meals, I adapt that. I bring that straight in. It's all about sensory overload. And for me, I like to do it that way to distract, because everyone is, even if they're like relaxed about it, in the back of their mind, they're going, "Oh man, but I'm going to eat THC. Like, what's going to happen? Like, am I going to be okay?" Like, everyone is thinking about it. So sensory overload will distract them off the bat. So I like to start usually with a very large scale charcuterie board, right? I like to
Okay.
call them like the table of earthly delights. Tons of cured meats, tons of cheeses, nuts, dates, little finger foods. I
Right.
really, really enjoy pig and blankets. Tons of spreads and mustards and pickled veg, olive oils, aiolis, mayonnaises, hot sauces, anything, just little finger foods. And I like to place it in a relatively like large table that people can walk around or
Right.
gather near. Now, mind you, all this is like pre-pandemic. During pandemic, they're much much smaller, so we have to open our minds again to what it is to be around people.
Right.
And so that'll last for about maybe like 30 minutes, more or less. People are allowed to have cocktails. Sometimes I'm hesitant to allow alcohol to also be imbibed. Um, but there's a way to control that as well. They can have as many cocktails as they want during this time. The bartender
Right.
knows not to pour too heavy.
So this appetizer tray, I know that you hear if people wanted pigs in blanket with
Hmm.
THC that you do
Yeah,
those here.
yeah, those are great.
But right, so we're talking a charcuterie board, the meat, so I'm assuming maybe the aiolis have a little bit of THC. Is that
Exactly.
where?
And so, there's different ways of, like I said, extracting THC. You can do it in fats. You can also do it through alcohol. And with alcohol, you're able to sort of bring that alcohol down and create a tincture. And with said tincture, you're able to put a little couple of drops into a mayo, put a couple of drops into a blueberry spread, put a couple of drops into like a spicy mustard, anything, um,
Right.
anything. And actually, once again, it's distracting. But during that 30 minutes of hanging out, just talking, eating the charcuterie, whatever, that's when they're receiving the majority of their THC.
Right. I think you had explained to me
Mm-hmm.
multi-course that by the time you get down to dessert, there's
Yeah,
nothing.
there's nothing. There's
There's
nothing at all.
nothing.
Yeah,
But it's you kick in. Now, one of the problems about smoking for me was I got the munchies.
mm-hmm.
And That was the downside because there wasn't enough food anywhere that could resolve this huge need for munchies.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in some of the components are called terpenes.
Terpenes.
Terpenes, right.
Mm-hmm.
And a friend was just telling me that humulene is actually, which is part of the cannabis. Humulene is an appetite suppressant. And I'm going,
Yeah.
where was that all that time? I was shoving food in my mouth.
Exactly. Some strains, do different things and have different effects. And like there's tons of cannabinoid receptors in our body. There are thousands of terpenes in the cannabis sativa plant, and each one can do something magical. And so actually, there's a strain, I think it's like Durban Poison, it's like a South African strain. It's high in humulene. And so I like to use that strain during the mid courses, right? So that you're not getting hungrier, right? You're just enjoying it, right?
Right.
But also during these mid courses, a lot of the strains will be a bit higher in CBD as well to actually relax the person. Because remember, that high sensation, that body high, it can do a lot to a person if they don't really understand what it is. And I never want anyone to feel uncomfortable. That is the worst at a dinner table. You know what I mean? Like, I want you just to feel as comfortable as possible.
Right. So just to remind people that you can place orders for the different baked goods through the Instagram, which is Good Snack Patisserie.
So you can get in contact with me through the Instagram. I actually, strangely enough as is, I like to speak to and meet each of my customers. This isn't like a call up. Hey, I'm gonna pull up. I need some brownies. No. I want to talk to you. I want to get to know you. What it is that you need and what it is that you're looking for as well. All of my clients are medical marijuana patients, so you do need to have a medical marijuana license. If you do not have one, I would suggest checking out the Cannabis Commission's webpage, and there are several steps there that are very easy that will help you along the process to receive that. It's incredible that we now have access to something that has been so divisive for so long. And if there's anyone from the Cannabis Commission listening to me, I like to challenge you, because it's lovely that this is available in this city, but this city is Black, and you know that. And there's no reason why the only movers and shakers in the cannabis culture right now are rich white men from out of town. Challenge.
The challenge is there. The gauntlet has been thrown down. That's for sure. And we might have already covered this, but what's the most common question that you're asked? Maybe I already asked it.
What's the most common question? I guess, is it going to get me really high?
I remember one time I was at a party and they had Zots, the candies with like the little acid burst in the center. I thought they were the game changer. I brought them into work and gave them out to everybody the next day because I thought they were the greatest thing on the face of the earth.
Oh, wow.
I know. There are plenty of stories,
That
and
is amazing.
Yeah, I joke with people, my memory is, I go, look, I'm a child of the 60s. I got 4 megs of RAM and a lot of bad sectors. And since I'm a child of the 60s, take it for whatever it's worth. I want to talk about, and tell people that if they want to learn more, that there's actually videos. It was Bong Appetit, which was a show on Vice, but you can find videos. And they're now doing like a Top Chef version of Bong Appetit. But you can see foods being made, and I saw where there were cocktail elixirs being made. And but let's get into I think it's very interesting. You know, women hyphenate their name, but you're hyphenating your name. And
Oh,
why are
yeah.
you hyphenating it Porter-Berger? Tell everybody.
Oh, they're my two grandfathers' last names, uh, and I decided to hyphenate them and add them together, just out of respect for both of them. Yeah.
Right, great. And do you know if you took the cannabis and you know how you put um, other things on hot coals to charcoal?
Hmm.
Can you take the cannabis, other than getting stoned being around it? Could you smoke foods with it?
Yeah. Actually, I've done that before. It doesn't impart much of a high. You know what I mean? That's not what's going to happen. But it does give it a wonderful, wonderful flavor. An extremely, extremely complex flavor.
Okay. Um, so I have some typical questions that I ask. What is the best piece of advice or the worst piece of advice or both that you've received?
Hmm. Best piece of advice. Worst piece of advice. Hmm.
Either or. Well, I'll tell you one that I liked that my father gave me. He
Okay.
said to me, has nothing to do with food or career. He says, when you're thinking about marrying someone, see how they treat their parents, and that's how you'll be treated.
Hmm. Okay. Um, I guess very simple. Make waves. Um, my high school advisor would always say that to me. Make waves, and that's what I try to do as much as possible. Nice waves, nice undulating waves.
Undulating waves. And
Yeah.
you went to boarding school, didn't you? Isn't that
Uh,
where?
for preparatory, yeah, I was at boarding school. I wasn't like a bad child. I wasn't like sent away or anything like that.
No, you wanted to. You told me earlier
Yeah,
that you
no,
went
no,
to your
no.
mother.
I was definitely like, yeah, let's do this.
Okay, okay. Um, Next question. What was your most epic culinary fail?
Ooh, my most epic culinary fail.
Right.
I guess it would be festival time. Um, I was technically it wasn't necessarily like a fail from my hands per se, but it was a
Right.
fail from me being in charge of something, you know. And there was some oh god, there was some raw chicken sent out of my kitchen into a festival ground to feed workers, the pyrotechnic crew, dancers, the artists, their entourages, whatever. And you know, I definitely should have been, you know, more aware, watching everything. You know, it's a lot. It's a lot going on. But if you're there, then you're there for a reason. You can do it. So you might as well do it and do it well. And so after
Hopefully,
that, no more of that.
well, that never happened again, and hopefully nobody got sick.
No, no one got too sick.
Okay, too sick. Okay, I'm getting that. All right. What question didn't I ask you that I should have?
What question didn't you ask me? Uh, I guess you could ask me what my favorite food is.
Ask what?
What my favorite food is?
Okay. Mikaele, what is your favorite food?
My favorite food is, and this is a little bougie, but my favorite thing to eat would be a delicious slice of jamon serrano iberico, nicely sliced off of the pata while it's still attached to the little like thing. Hold it up, just like that. That's
Yeah.
my favorite thing in the world to eat.
Well, I need to tell people that you spent a lot of time in Spain and you studied, your master's was in Spanish linguistics.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not too surprised that you like that, you know, beautiful Spanish ham. Um, I want to just remind people you can reach Mikaele Porter-Berger at his Instagram, which is Good Snack Patisserie. And I want to thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
And when I get my medical,
give me a call.
I'll give you a call because those brownies sound to die for.
They are.
So they are. Thank you so much.
You are very welcome. Thank you. Have a great day. Yeah.
You too. And I'm just going to continue on, folks. I have a lot of local restaurant news. And as I said, my memory is sort of shot from the 60s. So I'm going to read it. And just to, just consider this a Baltimore restaurant scoop. Hotel Revival Hotel, located in the heart of Baltimore's historic Mount Vernon neighborhood, and Black Acres Roastery today announced a partnership to offer unique in-room coffee experiences from the Black-owned and Baltimore-based roaster. In addition, the hotel's reimagined coffee shop, Dashery, which just opened this week, will also offer Black Acres Roastery coffee. Number one. Number two, Maryland Food Truck Week is coming back. It'll be a 2-week-long celebration from July 9th to July 25th, and you can discover the most eclectic and growing food truck scene in the country, and it'll be in multiple locations: Baltimore City, Baltimore County, Harford, Howard, Anne Arundel, and Carroll counties. And let me tell you, those food trucks helped out a lot of people during COVID. They'd go into neighborhoods and bring a selection of foods that they couldn't get normally. Also, talking about delivery, Scratch Mill meal delivery. Now, Chef Barry Fleischman has gone to opening up and doing these gourmet dishes that you can order and have delivered. It's scratchmill.com. And I was just looking this week, he had a roast glazed duck with apricot and 10 spice glaze. That sounded so good. And a couple weeks ago, we had Tony Scudo on from THB Bagels. And I've gotten word that probably June 7th will be the opening of the Owings Mills THB Bakery. But starting May 24th, they have Asiago Old Bay Bagels, which will be available at all the THB locations all summer long. The bagels are freshly baked in store daily, paired perfectly with the new exclusive Sweet and Heat cream cheese, a honey and Old Bay hot sauce infused schmear for your bagel. Also available at all the THB locations this summer. And in Little Italy, and I'm using my earphones here, in Little Italy, opening up soon, this is in June. A new restaurant. It's going to be breakfast all day called Saturday Morning Cafe. So that is in the old Ciao spot. And Our House, the Our House bar is having a grand opening May 22nd, starting noon to 10 p.m. And I heard a rumor about 4 weeks ago. I couldn't check it out, but now that the Baltimore Business Journal wrote it, that the Prime Rib in downtown Baltimore is looking to move. The tentative location might be Cross Keys. It's not firm, but it is being looked into. So that is my food news for Baltimore. And as I said, there will be no show tomorrow. Not tomorrow. There'll be no show next week. And the following week, which will be June 3rd, my guest will be Chef Cyrus Kiefer. He is a musician as well, so we're going to talk about that. You can find the show immediately on the J Moore Facebook page. In a couple hours, it'll be on the jmoreliving.com page. You can email me at food@jmoreliving.com. My social is at Dara Cooks. So I invite you to reach out. We love it when you feel the shows are of interest to your friends and family. So do share the links. And as always, may your plates remain full. I will see you in 2 weeks, and I thank you for joining us.